Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Amityville Union Free School District Board of Education meeting. This is the work session meeting, and today's date is June 3rd, 2026, and I'm calling the meeting to order now at 5:37. In attendance tonight is myself, Board President Lucy Johnson. The first Vice President, Juan Leon, will be anticipated in terms of arriving shortly. Our second Vice President, Chris Nearing, and trustees are Carol Seahawk and Leslie Kretz, and it is anticipated that Megan Messman and Mike McDonald will be arriving as well. Also in attendance is our superintendent, Dr. Gina Talbot. Our assistant superintendent for our interim assistant for finance operations, Joe DeGrom, will be arriving shortly. Our director of human resources, Dr. Landau, and our assistant director of assistant superintendent of curriculum instruction is Mary Stevens. Right? And it's anticipated that legal will be arriving as well. Can I have a motion to enter into executive session for interviews for assistant director for pupil personnel services and special education? Also, particular person's employment history and advice from counsel. Secretary is first, Leslie Kretz is second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. We anticipate resuming open at 7:30 p.m. Thank you for joining us for the open session.
At 7:49. At this point in time, please make a note of all the emergency exits closest to you. There's no smoking on school grounds, and please silence your cell phones during the business of the board meeting. And now, can you please join the Board of Education in the Pledge of Allegiance?
United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, before we get started, before I turn the meeting over to Dr. Talbot, I would like to welcome our newest board member, Mr. Michael McDonald. Welcome to the table. At this point in time, I turn the meeting over to Dr. Talbot.
Good evening to our board president, Lisa Johnson, our board members, colleagues, and members of the Amityville community. Tonight, it is my distinct pleasure to recognize the remarkable dedication and service of our staff who have reached significant milestones in their careers with the Amityville School District, celebrating 20, where are the 20? 25 and 30 years of service. It's no small feat and speaks volumes about their commitment to our student scholars and our mission in Amityville. 20 years of service for those celebrating 20 years with the Amityville School District. Thank you for 2 decades of dedication, commitment, and service. Your hard work, consistency, and care have positively impacted countless students and colleagues. We are grateful for all you have contributed to our school community. At this time, our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Ms. Stevens, will come forward to read the names of those who have earned 20 years of service.
Thank you, Dr. Talbot. I offer my congratulations and thanks to those who have 20 years of service. We begin tonight. We invite you to come forward when your name is called. We begin tonight with Franca Adams, a teacher at Northwest. Stephen Bailey, a security guard at Park North. Donna Brink, a monitor at Park Avenue. Joanne Graham from the guidance office at the high school. Christopher Grant, a one-to-one aide at the high school. Lori Heavey, a teacher at Northwest Elementary School. Daisy McCaddy, a monitor at Park Avenue. Lance Sinatra, a custodian at the high school. Ursula Somapiera, a teacher at the high school. And Suzanne Zabicki, a teacher at Park Avenue.
For those with 20 years of service, we're going to ask that the Board of Ed would join them for a photo. And let's see, do you want to come and stand behind? We're going to go there and we're going to block. Okay, Mr. Naring would like for you all to walk across, and we're going to take our photo over here. "25 years of service." Reaching 25 years of service is even a more remarkable milestone. For a quarter century, you have helped shape the lives of student scholars while contributing to the growth and success of our district. Your experience, dedication, and unwavering commitment have left a lasting mark on our schools. Thank you for your years of service and the difference you continue to make every day. At this time, we will acknowledge those with 25 years of service.
Again, thank you and congratulations to those with 25 years of service. Mary Aberscado from the guidance office at the middle school. Darren Aversa, a teacher at the middle school. And Michelle Eastwood, a one-to-one aide at the middle school.
And we're going to ask the middle school principal, Ms. Rose Hutcherson, to stand on their behalf. Let's clap real loud for them. 30 years of service. 30 years of service is an extraordinary achievement. Your knowledge, experience, and dedication have influenced generations of students, scholars, and staff. Through decades of change and growth, you've seen it come, you've seen it go. You have remained committed to excellence and have helped shape the legacy of the Amityville School District. We thank you for your outstanding service and lasting contributions. At this time, we will acknowledge those with 30 years of service.
Tonight, we recognize and thank Adriana Gray, a monitor at the middle school. And Barbara Lynch, a TA at Northeast.
I saw a picture of Miss Gray and she was all dolled up at her function last night. So we are so happy that she's doing well. Tonight, we also recognize our retirees and thank them for their years of dedicated service to the Amityville School District. Your commitment, professionalism, and care have made a lasting impact on our students, staff, and community. While we will miss your presence and contributions, we are excited for you as you begin this new chapter. Retirement is a well-earned opportunity to enjoy new adventures, spend time with family and friends, and pursue the things that bring you joy. On behalf of the Board of Education and the entire Amityville community, thank you for all you have done. We wish you health, happiness, and fulfillment in the years to come. At this time, we will acknowledge our retiring employees.
So we'd like to begin with Olympia Amoruso Coronas. Olympia's colleague, Jane Dady, would like to speak about Olympia.
Good evening. I am so pleased to celebrate my colleague Olympia Kurinis upon her retirement from teaching after 38 years. Long time. Very long time. Olympia started her career in 1987 teaching in St. Agnes Elementary School in Rockville Center. In 1989, she was hired by the Amityville School District as a third grade teacher here at Park Avenue. She spent the rest of her career, 36 years, teaching in Amityville in both Park Avenue and Northwest Elementary Schools. One of the things Olympia enjoyed most throughout her career was mentoring student teachers and new educators. She always welcomed teachers in training into her classroom. There were many. She took pride in fostering their growth, patience, and wisdom. Some of those student teachers are employed as teachers by Amityville today. However, her greatest joy and accomplishment was always the students and families whose lives she touched. The connection she made and the care she showed enriched the lives of so many, many with whom she still keeps in contact with and considers this part of her lasting legacy. Olympia's colleagues hold a special place in her heart. Many of them started out as colleagues, but went on to become friends and even family. Together, they shared not only the everyday joys and challenges of school life, but also many of life's meaningful moments, both joyful and heartbreaking. Olympia, as you begin this well-deserved new chapter, know that you will be missed. Your kindness, dedication, and unwavering commitment to your students, their families, and your colleagues have left an indelible mark on our school community. The impact you have made will be felt for years to come. I am so very proud to call you my colleague and one of my closest friends. You are a sister to me, and I'm so happy we're retiring together. Congratulations on your well-deserved retirement.
And now we recognize Jane Dady, who is also retiring this year. And speaking about her is her colleague, Olympia Amoruso Coronas.
As Jane said, it really is a blessing that we get to do this together. It is my honor to celebrate Jane Dady on her amazing career and retirement from teaching for 35 years. She was hired here in 1997 and began her career in Amityville. She taught third grade, first grade, and pre-K during her time here. And just a little note, we met when I was chasing her around for her vote coat model all over Park Avenue building. Hundreds of young minds have learned and succeeded in Jane's classroom. She impressed kindness, respect, a love for reading, and curiosity of learning new things for her students of over the past 35 years. Most of her days were spent imparting knowledge to her students, but there were challenges. She taught on 9/11 and in the weeks after. She endured the chaotic 5-year Park Avenue construction period and the constant packing and unpacking. She implemented brand new rigorous New York State assessments starting in 2005 with her third grade classroom. And most difficult of all, she taught through the pandemic. Jane conquered her greatest professional hurdle by teaching hybrid and remote students simultaneously to a class of 20 students. Next to the love for Jane has of Amityville is her students. After her students, it's her colleagues who have been a pivotal part of her 30 years. So many coworkers, current and retired, have been close friends. Amityville teachers help each other get through the days, the months, and the years. Jane, you will be deeply missed by your students, your friends, and your colleagues, but your legacy is everywhere in the joy of learning, the kindness you modeled, and in the generations who got the very best of you. Thank you for 30 incredible years in Amityville, your heart, humor, and dedication. And now as this new chapter in your life starts to bloom and evolve in different ways, I wish you nothing but the best life has to offer. And I look forward to spending it with you.
Next, we welcome retiree Magdalena O'Brien. Maggie has prepared remarks of her own that she's going to share.
All right. Good evening. Thank you to the board and everyone here tonight to support and celebrate the milestones of our careers. I'm torn between excitement and a broken heart. I'm excited to finally be with my husband, Jack, 24/7. What could go wrong after 38 years, my love? Not seeing these cuties every day saddens me. Each of them injected me with energy, focus, love, and laughter, the best medicine to stay happy. That I am standing here preparing to end a career that I love and I could easily continue to do forever keeps me wondering. I wonder to myself, will I miss this? Will I be missed? Will I find something fulfilling enough that compares to the 28 years in the Ville? If you know, you know. Yes, I will miss being an educator. I will miss the little voices at Northwest asking for help or bringing me a tiny weed at the first sign of spring. I know I'll sorely miss the daily "Te quiero mucho, Mrs. O'Brien." Least I forget the many cards on my desk with the most creative artwork and the most misspelled words. Oh, and the hugs that they give. I will miss my own tears in wanting to make everything a happy experience every day. I'll miss the developing young minds of Park Avenue. I was enlightened that 6'7" wasn't just my age, but also a complete irrelevant trend. Who knew? They've taught me about their individual talents as artists, athletes, mathematicians, back talkers, eye rollers, and their funny and smart abilities to bring a smile to my day. Will I be missed? Oh, I will respond with a resounding yes. I have been blessed to work with the most qualified educators imaginable. Together, we have made some lifelong friendships through respect and our love for each student that needed something from each of us. As our class community becomes family, so do the teachers and teaching assistants. Thank you to people like Mark Engler, Erica, Giselle, my bilingual beauties, Carrie Alberta, Christine Romanelli, just to speak of a few, Frank Garcia, James Hackett, Kathy Highland. These are very special people that I will always remember. I will find something quite remarkable to fulfill my retired days ahead. Pop Pop and Glamo are what our grandsons will call us. Both of my son and my daughter are expecting their first child respectively. Both boys due in August. We are excited to meet them, and I hope Uncle Philip is excited to meet them too. The retired days ahead will be filled with new life and blessings. We will be enjoying road trips, travel abroad to visit and revisit, volunteering, learning a new language, definitely not minding the clock, enjoying another 38 years with my love. Lastly, thank you to all who have been with me and supported me along the way. Continue your care and love, as they are the perfect ingredients to mix with the academics. No matter the age, once they walk through our classroom door, we educate, nurture, advise, console, and encourage their lives with hope and kindness. I will miss this most of all. Best of luck to you all and good health.
Next, we welcome to congratulate Rosemary Tejada Torres. Steve Lando is going to speak on Ms. Torres's behalf.
I asked for the privilege, I asked Rose for the privilege to speak on her behalf. Rose is among the first people to have welcomed me to the Amityville family. She was a member of the selection committee. And she was a standout there because of the size of her part in Grande Corazon. Corazon Grande, which would Corazon Grande. I have to put it backwards. I was never good at my world languages. She has been a blessing in the hearts, a blessing in my life here as a new member of the Amityville family for just less than a year. And I can only imagine the blessing that she has been in the lives and the families of students for more than, as we calculated, some 50 years. 50 years. Half a century. I am blessed that I have known you so soon and so quickly, and that you are now and will remain a part of this Amityville family because you still come to the performances and events. So, special events. Do you want to read this? Would you like me to read it? So a teacher from Northwest wrote this. A teacher from Northeast wrote this. Special, and the name is, I'm sorry, Joanne Rubin wrote this on behalf of Rose. Special events in life prompt people to become nostalgic and recall past memories. My career in Amityville gave me such fond memories. Meeting Rose Torres was a special one for me. When I first met her, my reaction was, wow, she is crazy funny, full of life. Our friendship over the years strengthened with every year, birthday, childbirth, divorce, and whatever life threw at us. We may not always see each other, but we are connected, and that won't change. I am happy to share this milestone with her. I wish I could have attended, but life. I wish her so much happiness in her retirement, and we wish you the blessings in your life that you have bestowed on thousands of children here in Amityville.
Next, we welcome Stephen Butler. Speaking on Mr. Butler's behalf is John Boel.
Good evening, board and everyone. Thank you for this great event. Co-worker, mentor, coach, and friend. These are the 4 words I would use to describe Mr. Steve Butler. If you've ever been to Edmund W. Miles Middle School the past few decades, chances are you've seen that smiling face. For 27 years, Steve has been a beacon of professionalism, positivity, and pride, walking the halls and cafeteria at the middle school. But Steve, you're not a one-trick pony. I call you Miles' Swiss Army knife. Yes, he's a custodian. Yes, he does his job. But if you walk in the cafeteria at lunch, you'll hear that beautiful voice of his talking to students and especially our young athletes. He exudes kindness, support, not just to the students, but to the staff alike. I've been the boys basketball coach at Miles the past 4 seasons. But my first season, that was a rough one. I coached both the boys and girls basketball teams. You're probably thinking, how did I do? 0 wins and 19 losses. And I'm not kidding, 0-19. But who was with me every step of the way? Steve Butler. Always being positive with the players, being positive to myself, helping me dig out of being upset. This is one funny story I can tell. And it's maybe not as funny, but if you imagine being on our bench, we're playing at Central Islip in girls basketball. We're not playing very well. And one girl who I really liked wasn't hustling, wasn't rebounding, wasn't playing defense. I'm like, Steve, why isn't she doing what we need? And without dropping a beat, Steve said, I don't know, coach, you picked her. I nearly fell on the floor, and we still laugh about it every couple of weeks. It was the perfect bit of humor to take the pressure off. And he was like, John, this is not the WNBA. We're just trying to get them better. Don't be so hard on yourself or them. And I needed that, Steve. It was just a perfect bit of humor, one of your best all-time lines. And to be honest, Steve, when you asked me the other day to do this tonight, I was really touched. I'd actually talked to Dr. Talbert about it a few months ago, to be honest. You've had such an impact on the students and the athletes of Amityville, but especially Miles. You might not know this. He coached girls basketball for 6 seasons. So he worked his shift and then coached basketball till like almost 5 o'clock. He did boys basketball for 10 seasons. And if you've been at an athletic event, track, football, volleyball, soccer, you name it, Steve's there. If we play it, Steve's working. After 27 amazing years, you're retiring. You visited the DR, Canada, and Jamaica over the years. I hope now you get more stamps on that passport. Selfishly, I hope you're around to be around our sports and to help me with boys basketball. From 0-19 the last 3 years, with Steve's help, we are 21-9. Steve, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for what you've done for the students of Amityville and especially Miles Middle School. On a personal note, I want to thank you for everything you've done for me, both personally and professionally. No lie, Steve, you made me a better teacher. You've made me a better coach. And most importantly, and I mean this, you made me a better man. I never had an older brother, Steve, and I look at you as an older brother that I probably never had, and I'm really glad our paths crossed. Please accept this as my most sincere wishes of appreciation for all you've done for me, our teams, and the students of Amityville. Enjoy your retirement, and may God bless you, my brother. I love you, man.
Oh, good.
So we'd like to take a moment just to applaud the retirees who were not able to join us tonight. From the teachers unit, Carl Ferrara from Northeast, Jane Grasso from the high school, and Adeline Karnowicz from Northwest. From the teacher assistance unit, Kathleen Clark from Northeast, Janet Lucchese from the middle school, from the custodial buildings and grounds unit, Donnell Lewis, and Henry Randy Rugen. From the one-to-one aides, Michelle Eastwood, Donna Pescatelli, and the school monitors, Carol Diliberto and Adriana Gray.
On behalf of the Board of Education and the entire Amityville School District, community, thank you to all of our honorees for your years of service, dedication, and commitment to our student scholars. Your contributions have helped shape our schools and strengthen our community. Please join me in giving our Retirees in Service Award recipients one final round of applause. We invite our retirees to come forward for a photograph with the Board of Education. And do know to all of our honorees, you will soon be receiving a special delivery on behalf of our Board of Education. Would our retirees come forward at this time? Board of Ed?
Please join the Board of Education in the hallway for a brief reception to honor our retirees and years of service. This time, which is now 8:33. We're gonna resume and open now at 8:33. At this point in time, before we go to community input regarding board agenda items, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add several resolutions at this point in time.
Yep,
Right,
motion to accept.
I did it right. Right. So I'm gonna start with I'm sorry, before I do the ed resolution, our student board ex officio, Soraya has a report for us.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I would first like to congratulate all of our high school music ensembles on their outstanding performances this year at NYSSMA Majors. Every ensemble earned a gold rating, and our orchestra received a gold with distinction. These achievements reflect the dedication, hard work, and talent of our student musicians as well as their directors. I would also like to share the success of our student council blood drives. Throughout the school year, we collected over 150 pints of blood. As a result, we qualified for a $1,000 scholarship through the blood donation program. More importantly, these donations have the potential to save over 400 lives. Thank you to everyone who donated and helped make this effort possible. Last night, the athletic department held its annual awards ceremony. Congratulations to all of the student athletes who were recognized for their hard work, dedication, leadership, and accomplishments throughout the year. Finally, as we approach the end of the school year, the Student Council will be holding a summer kickoff cookout next Friday to celebrate the start of summer break. We hope it will be a fun and memorable way for students to close out the school year. That's it.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. So at this point in time, can I have a motion? Oh, hold on, before I do that, I just want to read something before I do this. So before the board considers the next resolution, I would like to provide a brief explanation of the matter before us. Following the May 19th, 2026 annual district election and budget vote, the district clerk, conducted a routine review of the election records while preparing the official election documentation. During that review, she identified discrepancies between certain tally sheets and the recorded totals. The district clerk indicated that these discrepancies resulted from calculation and transcription errors during the tabulation process. It is important to note that at this time, while final numbers may differentiate from the results reported on May 19th, we do not anticipate a change of outcome for the budget vote or trustee election. Under New York State education law, once election results have been declared and the ballots have been sealed, the district is not authorized to conduct an independent recount or recanvassing of the ballots. The proper course of action is to seek review through the Commissioner of Education. Therefore, the resolution before the board tonight authorizes the district to petition the Commissioner of Education for an order authorizing a recount of the 2026 budget vote and election results. By considering this resolution, the board is not making a determination regarding the election results. Rather, it is requesting that the Commissioner of Education review the matter and authorize a recount to ensure the accuracy and integrity of the official election records. So at this time, can I have a motion to amend the agenda to add agenda item 2C3, which is a resolution to appeal to the Commission of Education. And it says, be resolved, the Board of Education hereby authorizes the law firm of Gersio and Gersio LLP to commence an appeal to the Commission of Education for an order annulling the certified results of the 2026 budget vote and election and authorizing a recount of the results of the 2026 budget vote and election.
Second.
Carol Seehoff is first. Chris Nairn is second. All those in favor?
Madam President, discussion?
This is just the amending of the agenda to add the item. That's it. I have gotten to discussion portion yet. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0. At this point in time, we can have a discussion now on this particular item if you like, or if I can do a motion for the agenda. Go ahead, Mr.
So before discussion, you'd have to move the underlying motion.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. Motion for agenda item 2C3, please.
Doing it out of order. Why are we
That is fine. If we want to, if we want to,
just amending?
that's fine. I'll just amend the agenda
Amend
to
the
add the
agenda.
item. So
That's
Yeah.
I'm going down the line. So the next item that we're going to add is, can I have a motion to amend the agenda to add agenda item 3B1A, the resignation of Danielle Lyle?
Motion.
Juan Leon is first, Chris Neeren is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You just have to speak into the mic when we talk, sorry.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda to add agenda item 3B2A, appoint a permanent substitute science teacher?
Motion.
Second.
Chris Neeren is first, Juan Leon is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0. All right, now we're gonna go back to the agenda. And now we can take community input on agenda items only. When you come to the mic, please provide your form with your question. As a reminder to everyone who comes to the mic, according to policy, to be respectful when you come to the mic. Thank you.
Wendy Canestra, Amityville. That's pretty unbelievable.
Hold on a second, please. Thank you.
That's unbelievable. I would like to know who's going to do the recount. Surely not the people who messed up the recount, who messed up the original count. Who's going to be recounting it? You can't have the same people involved.
So the recount, if it's authorized, would be determined after the commissioner issues an order.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry, John.
So the Commissioner of Education would have to authorize the recount after a petition, then it would be determined who would do the recount.
And are you asking in your relief of who's going to do that?
So that request right now is premature because we don't have an order by the commissioner to authorize the recount.
No, I understand, but when you're filing your appeal, it should be the board in your discussion. I will encourage you not to have the same people doing the recount be involved that were originally involved in the count, be involved in the recount. Those people should be disqualified from recounting. Every single one of them, including the clerk, every one of them. That should be in the relief, and the Board of Education should demand that. Okay, John, you
Mr.
good?
Keenan?
Yeah, so that's not part of the relief.
Thank you.
You're not gonna put, okay.
No, that's not part of the relief. The
Um,
only thing you request from the commissioner is the order.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the Board of Education can determine who's part of it?
Well, that's up to the commissioner.
Up to the commissioner. Okay. All right, thanks. Okay, let me just move on. Is that okay? Or do you need to say anything else, John?
No.
No.
Okay. I know you don't have anything listed here for board minutes on tonight's agenda. You have it for the next agenda, the draft agenda. There are no draft agenda minutes on the website, even though your policy says that they'll be up within 2 weeks of a meeting. They're not there. I emailed the clerk and I got no response.
Thank you. We're aware of it. It's being worked on. Thank you.
You're aware of it and you're just not going to do it?
I didn't say that.
You're
Thank you.
aware of it. It's February.
It's your
6th.
time at the mic. Go ahead at the mic.
Okay, it's June. That's
Thank you.
4 months that you have nothing up there for the community to review. Okay, I see that there's a bunch of appointments for the next meeting. The next Board of Education after reorg should be appointing it. I understand summer school you would have to do, but all these appointments for coaches, I always stand by that, should be done at a reorg meeting. You're jumping ahead of the new board that was sworn in. They have a right to make those appointments. As far as these policies, first of all, the fact that they're handwritten and there's pen and it's hard to follow is completely unprofessional, right? You're a $123 million organization and you should demand excellence on every single thing, including this. These are official documents on the website, and this is sloppy and not professional. On the budget planning policy, it says, in developing the budget, it's underlined. I don't even know what this means. The community has no idea what this means. It's underlined. Is this added?
I'm just taking the questions and we'll answer when we get to that point.
It says, in developing the budget, the superintendent may seek advice and suggestions from the Board of Education. You're abdicating your authority and responsibilities. That's the Board of Education. Why would you say may?
So thank you. We have your information. We're going to look at it. When we get to that point, we'll discuss them. Thank you.
I have a couple of questions, and the first one is about the discrepancies in the election. So of course, this makes things very ugly. That this was not done properly, that we're finding out weeks later that there are discrepancies. My question is, how many discrepancies do we have?
That's why we're doing the recount.
I thought you just said you weren't doing a recount.
I
you
mean,
got
I'm
input
sorry,
from the
that's why we're going
commissioner.
to the Commissioner of Education for asking for a recount. Go ahead, Warren John.
So that process is we lay that out for the commissioner, and the commissioner considers the matter, and that's part of the petition.
Okay, the point is you had a recount.
No.
There are discrepancies that were found. You
No, there's
must
no
have a
recount.
number, some odd number out there that is giving you an idea of how many discrepancies there are. How many discrepancies, like how many weren't signed, how many didn't fill it out. I'm making up things, but you have to have 5 here, 4 here, 6 here. You have to have an idea.
So that process, in terms of a recount, is only official when the Commissioner of Education authorizes it. So there is no official number of
I'm
discrepancies.
not asking for official. I'm asking for an idea.
There's no idea. There's only an issue. The
Okay.
issue is presented to the commissioner, and the commissioner determines.
So then how can the board president say they don't see a problem with the election? It shouldn't change any of the results because we know there's not enough discrepancies to change the result. So you must have an idea of the number of discrepancies. If she can make a statement saying that it will not change the result of the elections, somebody has to have an idea of the number of discrepancies.
So discrepancies were identified, but those numbers are not official and they're not a part of the public record. The only public record that we have is the results that were certified by the Board of Education. The process is that the discrepancies are described to the Commissioner of Education. The Commissioner of Education reviews the issue and the facts pursuant to a petition, makes a determination as to whether or not there will be a recount or not. Only after the commissioner issues an order for recount and there's a recount are there subsequent numbers.
Well, then I take exception to the board president's statement that's going in the records saying that it will not change the results of the election. She can't say that.
That's only based upon.
It shouldn't be in the records anyway.
That's based upon
Right,
those that
Commissioner Fine.
that is only stated as to those indicated in the informal review by the district clerk.
I'll say again, the board president should not be making that statement that it will not change the results of the elections. Second question about this. You're going to give this to the commissioner.
Correct.
What's a time frame that you hear results from the commissioner or a response from the commissioner?
That's within the discretion of the Commissioner of Education.
So we could go through the whole term of the people that are on the board And we could go through the whole budget process of using money that we don't even know if the budget actually in fact passed, because we don't know how many discrepancies there are.
So,
This is beyond my comprehension. And it's pathetic that this board and the district clerk were not capable of maintaining a proper election. It's really, really sad and embarrassing.
so the discrepancies that were indicated do not indicate a change in the outcome of the results of the election or the budget vote.
I have one other question.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll walk over there and I'll go back after one.
Wendy Canestro, can't you ask for can't you ask for a stay? That's 3 days. Are you looking for immediate relief?
No, there's no stay provision.
Okay. So if you found discrepancies and the board certified the vote, the clerk oversees the election. They had to tabulate the tallies. And that means at some point, somebody recounted something after the Board of Education, which is improper. That is an improper procedure.
The only recount can be upon order by the Commissioner of Education.
Exactly my point. Thank you. So somebody decided to do this after the certification.
So it is common practice now to put the numbers into the bold system. That is moving numbers from one page to the next. It's not a recount. Any recount would only be upon order by the Commissioner of Education.
Okay, I also hope that you seek removal of the district clerk over this. As far as these policies, just to go back to that, the one about the budget, it says that the board may advise. You're abdicating your role. That's your role, your responsibility, and your duty. You should never agree to that. All you're doing is giving all authority to the superintendent, who is the employee. The way this reads is she's your boss. That's not how this works, even though they would like it this way. As far as the recruiting policy, again, 5 community members, 7 staff members, okay. And I see that for the probationary administration role, central administration, 8 union members, 2 community members. Why is the Board of Education marginalizing the community members, taking away their voice? Same thing with the cabinet level, reduced from 5 to 2. The district, it's pathetic that everybody says, we want the community involved, we want the parents involved, and then you make steps like this, which pushes the community and the parents away. Your actions do not reflect what you say, or what you say on Facebook, by the way, some trustees. Anyway, I would love to say I'm surprised. I'm actually not surprised at all, because everybody's incompetent.
You have to fill out a sheet. Next person. Thank you, sir. Okay,
Thank you.
Stephanie Andrews. Yes, and when I'm done, I'll give it to you. Stephanie Andrews.
Stephanie, can you
Amityville.
you have to give your sheet to the district clerk, please. Thank you. I just had someone go back to fill it out. Thank you.
Stephanie Andrews, Amityville. First of all, the draft minutes, I know they're not on the website, but there are draft minutes, correct? Since February. The board gets draft minutes. So then when I foil them tomorrow, I will be given them within the 5 days, because the law is you must provide, even if they're in draft form, to the public. Number 2. So someone had to recanvass the vote to know there's a discrepancy. That in itself is a violation of education law. I find it hard to believe one of the election workers would have recanvassed anything, since they probably don't have access to it. So the only person that I can think of is the district clerk. Does this board know? It's my understanding the district clerk, I think, is an attorney.
We're not talking
And
about
the reason I say this is not only that I happened to look, I see something. I believe a comment was made to someone at the polls that she was an attorney. Now, maybe they misunderstood her, but an attorney would need to know what the violation of law is, even though
Excuse
they
me.
may not be hired as an
Ms.
attorney.
Andrews, please do not discuss the
I'm
personnel.
sorry, I can't hear you. You got to talk.
I said,
louder,
please
Lisa.
do not discuss the personnel in the district. Thank
Well,
you.
that's a personnel
Thank you.
issue. That's the employee.
Thank
If
you.
they're representing
for
themselves to
consideration.
an
Thank you.
election worker as an attorney, I think.
Excuse me, if you're gonna yell out, we're gonna ask you to leave the meeting. Please stop screaming out from the audience. Thank you.
I also want to remind the board that I sent a litigation hold letter on the 18th, and I sent it to Mr. Sheehan. I sent it to the district clerk, who has not responded to not one of my emails to her regarding any of the campaign information that was required to be sent in. And I just want to remind the board and the attorney that under litigation hold, all documents are to be kept unaltered. And as far as the recanvassing, as requesting the commissioner to do it, is the board going to insist that all information is sent to the commissioner, how there it came to be, that there's a discrepancy between what the board certified and what we're being told tonight? Because that would be holding back information from the commissioner, who needs all information, not just what's decided to be sent to them, because certainly we will be sending a request to the commissioner. I would hope that we're going to be forthright with what actually happened.
Thank you.
My question is about the hiring committee. And why was it decided to revamp that policy?
That was part of the policy committee meeting. We're gonna have a discussion on it when we get to that point in the meeting.
Okay. So you're going to explain why this was brought up to be revised at that point in the meeting? Okay. My question here, it says in the original, or the one that's in existence now, the committee shall rate the candidates and make their recommendations for the next round of interviews. The second level of interviews will be conducted by the superintendent and her cabinet. And I'm just asking, where is those two statements in the new policy? Because I don't see where that is stated anywhere in the new policy.
When we get to that point, we'll look at that.
Okay. Third, my next question is, I heard through the grapevine that an additional surplus was found in the budget. Is that in fact true?
Dr. Talbot?
An additional surplus?
Mhm.
No, there's no additional surplus.
So it's not factual that what Mr. Dragone said, I think if I remember my numbers correctly, it was about a 2.5 surplus that we were discussing. And I even brought up the need for not putting an extra tax on the community. There's not an additional surplus from that 2.5 or 2.8 or 3.2, whatever it was.
So when you say additional, as we're nearing the end of the year, there is an assessment as to how much of the budget will be spent. There have been some general assumptions, and that information will definitely be available once the books are closed. It'll
So
be
I
confirmed.
know the business office does this monthly. So I think the last time we heard, well, this is beginning of June, so May, maybe April or March. So as it stands now, we're at the end of May, going into June. What does it show on the books now? What the surplus or lack of surplus is right now?
The number is still evolving. Mr. Dragon did report to the board where he estimates we are, but that number has fluctuated.
So what is that estimate? I know it's an estimate, but
It's
what is?
definitely an estimate.
So what is that estimate?
At this time, Mr. Dragon, that estimate is around
6.7 million.
6.7 million. This doesn't shock the board. This doesn't upset the board. This doesn't like penalize the community after you put a levy on them. And now we're up to $6.7 million. I've been in this district my entire life. I have never seen anything like this in my life. We go from not having enough money to 3 extra million, to 10 million, to 2 million. Now we're up to 6.7 million. And us as the community are paying more. It's pathetic. You guys should be so embarrassed with yourself.
We have about a minute left for community input on agenda items only.
Cheryl Quintine, Best Delaware Avenue. I'm going to be very brief. It wouldn't even take a minute. We should be so embarrassed that as adults, we cannot conduct ourselves professionally. And I would want to make a strong suggestion that when we have our student representative in-house, that maybe the public input should be reserved until that individual leaves. I am embarrassed that as adults and professionals, we cannot conduct ourselves. And then we expect students to conduct themselves. Totally embarrassing.
Please, no clapping, please no clapping.
And we come here every night and the same rules exist. You don't call out, you don't talk out, and we have to remind adults and professionals something needs to be done about this.
Thank you. At this point in time, we are going to go to the agenda. And we are going to agenda item 2B 1 through 7. So does anyone have any questions on agenda item 2B 1 through 7?
Yes, Madam President. I'm not sure if anyone would request it to be done individually. If not, I can just begin asking questions.
I didn't call for a motion. I just said, are they? So if you want, I can do each one individually. I have no problem. And then we can go. Okay. Can I have a motion for agenda item 2B 1, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Juan Leon is first, Chris Nairn is second. Any discussion on this item?
When you're saying to approve the policy, you're just saying that we're approving the second reading because it's not listed as second and final.
We can do it either way. We can do it as a second reading or we can do it as a second and final reading.
Okay.
So, Madam President, I would recommend it being a second reading as final is not noted here.
We have the right to make it a second and final reading, a first and final reading if we would like as a board. So now we are having a discussion on the item. If anyone has any comments on the item, these minutes have been, these policies have been in place to the board since the last board meeting. So far, we have not heard any comments back from any board member about these policies.
So, Madam President, just to clarify, this is a second reading or this is a final reading?
First Vice President Juan Leon, I'm stating to you that the board could make it a second and final reading if that's what we want to do. Right now, we're just having a discussion about this item. So are there any questions on this particular item?
So I don't have any questions on the 6,000 series. Like you said, so that's 1 through 5. We have had these. I think we met on them back in like November, December. What I would not like to see this be a final reading because I'm not clear in the black and white copy if there's track changes in addition to the handwritten notes. So I do feel as though we need to see a clean typed out for the third reading for items 1 through 5. At this time, I don't have any specific comments, but that is, yes.
And any other questions or comments on these?
I'm sorry. So are we just talking about one?
So right now, we're only at the 6,000.
Just this, okay, just 6,000, because I have on the other, yep,
I'm only at agenda item 2B1.
okay.
So this is just my perspective on it, and the board can go any way they want. Like I stated before, we've had these policies for the last board meeting. No one has said, hey, can you clean it up? Can you take out the lines? Can you do whatever? So here we sit tonight, and we've had these policies, but no one has spoke up to ask anything about these particular policies, to change anything, to ask any questions or anything like that. That's the only thing that is concerning to me, that no one has spoken up about, can you clean it up? Can you make it neater? Can you do whatever? So that's just my only comment. So the board can do whatever they want, but I just really feel that we've had it. If you didn't understand the changes, if you didn't recognize what was outlined or whatever, because if you look at 6,000, if you look at 6110, there's really nothing on there, just minor changes and going on down the line. So
Yep,
if the board wants a clean copy, if that's the choice, then that's fine. So right now we'll stay with agenda item 6,000. We're having a discussion. So all those in favor of 2B1, because we had a call for it, we got a first and second, we just had a discussion. So all those, now I'm calling for a vote.
Are we voting on it?
I'm
as a
just doing,
final?
I'm just doing 2B1. I don't mind doing it as a second and final reading, or we can approve it as is, because, excuse me, Mr. Sheenan, it's a second reading. If we want to make it a second and final, do I say second and final, or do I have to?
So right now,
Extend the motion.
right now it's just a reading,
Yes.
right? So you need a reading and approval. So it would be second reading and approval.
So I just need to change the motion,
You
correct?
need to change the motion.
Can I have a motion for agenda item 2B1 as a second and final reading?
Motion.
Second.
Chris Nairn is first, Carol C. Hoff is second. This is just for 2B1. Can I have all those in favor of making this a second and final reading?
Aye.
Aye. I can't hear votes, so people just need to.
Sure, aye.
There's no edits on this version, the 6,000.
There's just one as edit right there.
The edit inserted the and then crossed it out?
Yes.
Okay.
So, so the key is this, we're up to the vote. Either do you want a yes or no?
Well,
You guys have had these policies, you've looked at them.
So
If you're something you're not clear on, you should have brought it up before. So we're up to the vote at this point in time. So once again, so far I have 6 yes. I just need to find out where we're going, so we go to the next one.
that was to amend.
No, it's just,
So I'm sorry, was there a question on the floor about how it was revised?
yes, so I was changing the motion, I was doing the motion to make it a second and final reading. So
that's what's on the floor now?
That's what's on the
change
floor.
in the motion.
changing the motion.
Okay.
So changing the motion to make it a second and final reading.
No.
Right. So Juan, are you still a no or a yes? So I know.
Well, I'm a yes, and I will hold my comments till the comment section.
Can do I need to do 2B1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 separately? Does anyone need me to do them? Do I need to do them separately, or do you want them done together? Just so I know.
I think we already have the motion for 2B1.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm 2B2, 3, 4, and 5. Do you need to be done separately?
Why don't we just finish with 1?
I did finish with 1.
You
So
finish-
can I have a motion for agenda item 2B1 as a second and final reading?
Motion.
Chris Nearing,
Second.
Carol Seehoff, all those in favor for a second and final reading?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
No. And
I didn't hear, Leslie or aye. Motion carries 5-2. I'm going to agenda item 2B2. Can I have a motion for agenda item 2B2?
As
I'll do it as a second and final reading.
motion.
Chris Nairn is first, Carol Seehoff is second. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any noes?
no.
Megan, do you want to know? Or Megan, no, or yes?
I'm a no.
Okay.
Like I said before, I would like to see them cleaned up and have it be a third and final with everything typed. So I'm
Okay.
still a no, so you can do them all together.
Okay, so can I have a motion for agenda item 2B3 to 2B5, please,
As
as a second and final reading?
motion.
Chris Naron, Leslie Kretz, all those in favor from 2B3 to 2B5 as a second and final reading?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
No.
Motion carries 5-2. I'll do 2B6 separately. Can I have a motion for agenda item 2B6?
Motion.
Chris Naron is first, Carol Sehoff second. Any discussion on this item?
1 second, please.
And this is a first reading for this particular one. I think. It's not a second reading.
Well, Madam President, while trustee Messman is finding her notes, I just want to be clear why I'm voting no. Not because there's anything particularly wrong with them, but it's not typed out. It looks like this. It has notes all over the place. We need a finalized document of what it is going to be and then say yes or no, not chicken scratches and side notes. This is our policy. And that's what we should be.
Excuse me, Mr. Leon, this is just for a first reading. I didn't say first and final for this one. This is just for a first reading.
I understand, Madam President. I'm just saying in general terms,
Okay.
I expect a document that is approvable with the changes in it, not
Okay.
handwritten side notes that I have to decipher someone's handwriting and
I
decipher a meeting and things like that.
and I expect that as board members, if you have any questions, that you can bring it up prior to tonight. Thank you.
Madam President, this is the venue for the questions.
Mr. Leon, First Vice President, you've had these since the last board meeting, so it's not the first time that you're getting them.
Again, the issue is not with the substance, it's the presentation.
Right, so I'm gonna pull the motion for 2B1 because this is just a first reading. So can I have a motion to pull this motion because this is just a first reading
For which
I
one?
think you
For-
had,
for-
you have it already.
for
You have
2B6? I'm just gonna pull the motion because it's just a first reading. So all those in favor of pulling the motion for 2B6?
Why,
Because
why
it's
are
a-
we pulling it? I don't know.
Right.
Then we leave it, so it's the
We just
actual
leave it.
first reading?
Yes.
Right, so it's just a
Okay.
first reading.
Okay, so I called for a motion, that's why. All right, so we're gonna go to 2B.
Motion failed for lack of second.
Yes, thank you. Motion failed, lack of second. Can I have this is a first reading for the hiring policy for 9240. Any questions or comment about the hiring policy for 9240? It's a first
Yes.
reading.
Yes. Go ahead.
No. Do you,
Sure.
okay, motion, I guess, right? We're calling a motion to talk about the hiring.
No,
policy?
this is just, we're not
Okay.
voting on it. We are just going to discuss
Okay,
it. This is
so-
first reading.
Okay, so there's a few changes that are proposed. So we've deleted reference to interim administrative appointments, which I don't agree with. I know that we had an experience this year, in the district where we had to respond quickly to fill an interim position. And as such, the board majority had decided to bypass the hiring policy procedure for the sake of filling the interim position promptly. But I don't know that that's always going to be the case. We might have situations where we can step through an interview process for an interim position. We might know ahead of time. So that I don't feel strongly enough to remove reference to interim completely from this hiring policy. I also don't, there's things in here that have been struck that I don't agree with, that the rating rubric shall be used to score each resume and candidates during all interviews. That was struck, and I don't see why, because I think that This year, we found success. This was the first year with this revised hiring and recruitment policy for administrative positions, and it has been successful, and we have had great candidates brought forth to the Board of Education. So I don't see why we would be striking that. A community member did raise a great point, because I don't see it in here either, is why are we taking out the second round of interview, first round of interview reference? So I don't see it. The board shall designate the order in which community members are to be assigned. I don't see the need for the board to be involved at that level. We deliberated at great length last year to land on 5 community members. We're now suggesting to reduce it to 2 community members, and that the board is going to decide who to be selected for the interview. So no, I don't agree with that. I do want to see that to remain as 5 community members. We've increased to 9 staff from 7 staff, with a suggestion to reduce community members from 5 to 2. So that's not the balance that we were looking for last year. We had a drive to increase community engagement, and in my 2 years being on the board, I think that we do have increased community engagement. We might not always agree with all the opinions of everybody, right? And that's the nature of that's the nature of every day and every experience, right? You're not always going to agree, but we need to open up and remain available to community participation. So I think that it's important to keep it as 5 community members, and that the board is not involved with deciding who of those community members. I also have a concern, and this is a thought that conflicts with some at the table, that if a AAA member should not be involved in the process of somebody they report to directly. That's just maybe a nuance because we don't decide which two AAA members are available, but as an example, if you're hiring a principal in any of the buildings, that the direct report is not part of the selection of their new administrator, their new boss. So those are some of my thoughts.
Thank you.
For the board.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any comments about this policy?
Yes.
If I might, just the first, second, and final of Ms. Messman's comments, I might add some insight to as to why they were there, but I will do that at whatever point if the board would like me to make that comment.
Well, what I was going to ask is, because I was the only board member at the last policy committee meeting, is that we did have a significant discussion on this policy, and I would ask that either Dr. Talbert or Dr. Lando speak to some of the changes that are shown in the policy and what the reasons for those changes were.
So Dr. Lando has been an integral part of the hiring committee and has done an excellent job in training the committee and guiding the process according to board policy. As they have navigated through the process, there has been some feedback that has come to his attention from committee members, as well as insight that he has gained through the process. And that information has been shared with the board members at the policy committee. And Dr. Land, if you would just take a few minutes, you can highlight some of those recommendations.
So, Trustee Messman, the first comment that you made was, and please refresh my memory regarding the rubric. Is that correct?
I did comment on that, yes.
So with regard to the rubric, one of the things that was a clear consensus, let me say this, at the end of every selection committee, I ask the entire committee a question, and the question that I ask them is, what can or should I have done better to facilitate the functioning of this committee? In other words, I seek feedback every committee. And so many of the recommendations that you see here come from, I'm going to say, consensus feedback regardless of the membership of the committee. One of the things that proved to be onerous was the complicated nature of the rubrics that were used. And so during the course of moving from the first selection committee that I had the pleasure of running, which was for the director of curriculum, we moved from a more complicated rubric to one that was became more easy to understand and easier to use. Even getting to that level 2 committees ago, one of the things that was said was that it would be really great if there could be some direction that is given to the committee as to who would like to be seen. So the revised version of this policy does not exclude the committee itself from saying, we're looking at every resume in as detailed the levels we'd like, and we'd like to select people to move forward into a first round interview. What it does provide for, as the revision is suggesting, is for there to be some direction given based on a prior review that includes things such as prior years of service, like service, certainly whether or not a person is certified. The policy, the revised policy as written, provides for providing the selection committee with every single applicant for the position. The idea of transparency was very clear in the previous policy, and it is a goal of this policy to remain transparent. The guidance of trying to give some direction as to who might be seen, it has made its way into this, with the committee able to select any person that it wants to, both by score. However, people look at different ratings within a rubric and say, well, this is more important than that. And so it's not just the raw score that matters. It is the consensus of the committee in saying, these are people that are worth seeing. And it's a process that, in addition to looking at scores, we have had great conversations with the committees about, okay, so we've got this priority and these are the people that we like. What are the advantages and disadvantages we see with each? And the committee as a whole has reached consensus as to, let's see these people, right? The committee as a whole has taken part in, with me drafting questions, the committee as a whole has had the opportunity to participate in, hey, here's questions we might like to ask, modify, et cetera. And so we've done those first round questions together with consensus. And then the committees have functioned very well in asking those questions in general, in following law in terms of what we're allowed to ask and what we're not allowed to ask. And then in each of the last committees, we have reached consensus, in some cases unanimous consensus, on these are the people that the superintendent really needs to see. And I'm very pleased with the quality of candidates that have been brought to the superintendent and the quality of candidates that have been brought to the board for consideration. So although there seem to be things that are taking away from the existing policy, it's not intended to be that way. The transparency, the freedom of the committee to select candidates to interview, the committee's whole participation in the process, these are all things that are included with what I would call, although it's quite verbal, tweaks. Another thing that became very clear in the selection of a couple of committees is that expertise from among educational professionals was not there. A case in point would be the selection of the Director of Fine and Performing Arts. We've selected an outstanding person. However, there was neither an art teacher nor a music teacher on the committee as it was composed. And so therefore, the structure that includes some more educational professionals to have their input on the committee is reflected in 2A and the membership that's listed there. So that was deemed as something that was valuable. With regard to, is there a second level of superintendent's committee? Yes, that's actually on the next page. And so it wasn't removed, it's just in a different place. It's under number 6. The second level interviews will be conducted by the superintendent, et cetera. So it's there with some revised language. However, it is still there. So the first level, the second level, those are things that are still present that follow the initial policy. And the last item that you brought up, Trustee Mesman, I'm sorry that I don't remember off the top of my head.
The 2 members of the community and the line that says the Board of Education determined order will be used to assign interested and available.
Okay. It has been challenging, as I've reported, to have the number of community members designated under the policy there. The other challenge is that, and I need to add that participation by the community members I have reported to the board also has in general been extremely valuable, and we functioned exceptionally well. I celebrate the way the committee has worked with each other to reach consensus. In terms of overall representation, the question of balance among the different interested parties is there. And one of the things that became clear is that in certain circumstances, particular bargaining units did not feel that they had a proprietary interest in the selection. The policy seeks to allow the committee, those bargaining units to not send someone to certain committees without us trying to have to create interest in something in which people trust the others that would serve. So the provision is there to allow for that to be there. The last piece of it is that in terms of balance, I understand the board's desire to have, I understand the board's desire to have community input. And again, I celebrate the community input. However, no other representative and interested group has more than one member as presently constituted. And to try to create a balance among the interests and to provide the board with the opportunity to say, listen, for this particular committee, for instance, we have a committee that is coming up for the Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations. For this particular committee, there are community members who possess an expertise that would be valuable for this committee, and we would like those members to serve. To provide that opportunity from a holistic perspective might be something that the board would be interested in. So it's in effect looking to empower the board, although the number of community members is smaller, to try to empower the board in terms of who's best for particular committees was the goal of that. And any suggestions for modification of language, certainly happy to listen to.
Thank you for the explanation. I still, and I know this is only a first reading, but at the moment, I'm not convinced that we should reduce still from 5 to 2. And I understand that maybe the community members aren't available and maybe we have less community members participating in certain hires, but I don't at this time agree to reduce it. But thank you for the.
Thank you. Any other comments from board members?
Yes, Madam President, I have 4 points. The first point being that Mr. Nearing said that he was the only member of the committee that was present. So I don't consider that a committee moving this forward for the first reading. That's one person. So
Excuse me, Ms. Leon, I'm
Yes,
just letting
ma'am.
you know that in the past, there was only one board member that attended a policy committee meeting. And actually, there was no one from the cabinet that was there. But go ahead.
Exactly. My point being is that one person can't move this forward to the board.
Oh, it did. It got moved forward last year.
It shouldn't.
It did. And you were on at the time. But go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. So I don't think that that should be appropriate. Right? If we have a hiring committee and they're consisted of 3 individuals, maybe 2, maybe 3 individuals for it to even get to a first reading. The word of one person and it gets to a first reading is not appropriate. Number 2, second point. I also agree.
Can I just
I
interject?
agree
This
with
is-
Trustee Messman.
This was
with
not the
point
word of
where it
one
says-
person. This was
where
the
it
word
says
of the
interim.
committee.
Removing interim again allows us to fast track certain positions. And we are a district that has a history of hanging on to interims for a very, very long time. So I am not comfortable with removing interim. That's 2. Number 3, reducing community input from 5 to 2. We are trying to engage our community as much as possible, more than ever. Having 5 community members has done us well. It actually brought you here, Mr. Lando, and it actually hired the assistant for Mary Stevens on the curriculum from 2 very high-performing districts. So we are only beginning to see the fruits of that. So to reduce 5 to 2 seems counterintuitive, especially if we are trying to get community involved. That's my third point, and I lost my fourth, so I will pass.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So the committee is not just of board members, it is of the cabinet and 3 board members, but it is not far-fetched that there are meetings that go on without 2 or 3 board members being there. To my knowledge, it is not required that there needs to be more than 1 board member at these committee meetings. So it is not impossible for policies to get presented to the board if there is only 1 board member present at those meetings.
Well,
Secondly, on 2A, where it says 2 community members from the annually approved Board of Education list. So that does not mean that there is only 2 members of the community that are a part of the committee. It's just that
there's only 2
correct
voices.
me if I'm wrong. There's only 2 that would be selected for that particular hire because it is. If you could explain that, you explained it better at the meeting.
I think I understand that. There's no issue
Well,
with that.
I'm asking that Dr. Lando explain that process.
So the idea was that I had not put any limit when I drafted this for consideration, and shared it and discussed it with others. When it was drafted, the idea was that there could be a variety of community members who might best serve the interests of the district, depending on the positions to be filled. And again, to provide the board with leeway in doing that. I don't think it says only 5 community members here. I don't think there's a limit on the number who the board might select from among.
Correct, but only 2 will be at the table.
And
it was 5.
Always 5.
So what I will say is that securing 5 community members has been extremely problematic in terms of the actual functioning. And so consideration might be given to considering a different number for the functioning of the committee, and so that we have the level of participation that is desired, and so also that there is, I'm going to use the word, a more balanced representation. There are many interests that were part of the committees. The members that have attended these, I'm going to again compliment the membership for their open dialogue, for trusting each other not to speak outside committee, because what is spoken about is a secure process to protect the identities of those people that are applicants, who might not want their current employer to know.
So Dr. Lando.
Yes.
Would it perhaps be more appropriate to put in a policy up to 5 members? If we think we will only get 2 or 3, we have the option for 5.
I think, please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe we still may seek 5 people, but when it's time for a actual interview, you're only going to place 2 for the interview.
The policy is written as proposed, has 2. I understand and I hear trustees Messman and Leon saying that 2 is not enough. My suggestion to the board and my recommendation to the board and to the superintendent is that the balance of 5 community members, when at present there is only 1 from any other constituent group that serves, presents a challenge for balance. And so the desire is to propose something that creates, that allows for different interests to be represented in different ways in a more balanced way.
Well, thank
you.
you.
And if there is a number greater than 2, I understand the desire for that. Perhaps it's not 5 either.
Well, Dr. Lando, it's tough for me to go along with that, and I'll tell you why. I even said it before. I think I might be out of line. I think you were a very good hire, and I think also the individual, the Mary Stevens, is also a very good hire from high-performing districts, which is what I would like to see here. And that was done when we had 5 community members on this committee. If we are trying to get community members involved and buy into the district and believe in their district, get them involved.
can I ask you this then, trustee Leon? Do you think that if there were only two members of the community on the hiring policy, that they wouldn't have selected those two candidates? That they would have looked at them and said, I'm gonna pass, just because there's like those three other voices is what pushed these two candidates forward?
Mr. Nearing, that's speculative because you don't know what would have or could have happened. But let me ask you a question, because you were there. Why would you prefer 2 and not 5 community members?
So you know why? I'm gonna answer.
No, I would like to hear
Excuse
from our
me,
second vice.
Excuse me, and I'm just like everyone has been interjecting. I've been very quiet.
Please,
So
so that I can understand from 5 to 2, why is that a good idea to you?
So I'm gonna make a comment.
Chris, come on.
Excuse me, I'm gonna make a comment.
Nothing.
And then Chris can respond. At this point in time, we have gone round robin. Everyone has made a comment. Everyone's made a comment on what they feel needs to be changed to this particular policy. We've heard all the different comments, and at this point in time, let's just make a couple things clear. If we want to stick with the two community members, then we can make a consensus right now. We stick with the 2 community members, and then we can move forward. And then from that point, we'll get a clean copy. And if anyone has any additional comments from there, they can do additional comments. So if we just want to go forward, we'll get a clean copy, and then we can go from there. So as we go forward, it will stay with the 2 community members, and then we have all the comments, and then we'll make a decision of whether or not we're going to adjust anything. So I'm moving on to the meeting.
Well,
So-
can I just comment
Go,
first?
Chris, yes.
So I am not set on the 2 community members. I am open to hear for any other numbers. I listened to Dr. Landau, who's been most deeply involved in this, in working with this policy, and listen to his feedback as a professional who's been doing this. I would, and especially since you think so highly of him, that you would consider his feedback to be valuable. So as someone who was listening to the person that we put in this position for human resources, that we all seem to think so highly of, and I agree that he's a good choice for this position. And has someone who's hired people for over 15 years, it's sometimes too many voices could be too much. And I'm not saying that it's impossible to have it effective with 5 community members, but considering that mixed with the feedback that we were getting, that's why I'm leaning towards 2. If somebody wants to throw in, let's make it 3 or 4, I'm open to discuss it, but that's where I'm standing. How does that fit for you?
So I appreciate the answer, but I still don't understand. If you're willing to have 3 or 4, where does that come from? And why not 5?
I said I'm open for discussion.
Okay.
One of his reasoning was the fact that it adds balance, that it's not overloaded to the community.
Dr. Lando stated that it was difficult to find participants. That was the reason to go down to 2. One of the reasons. But if we really advertise and try to get our community involved in a very meaningful process, we very well might be able to have 5.
You've been a,
And that's
you've been
all
a,
I'm going to say on this.
Interject on that thought too. I was wondering too, have we reached back out to the hiring committee to see if they have interest in continuing next year? Because I think we would be reappointing them at the reorg meeting if they were. Similarly to how we did with the CBAC, we had reached back out to the members to see if they would be interested. And then I guess we would do a posting, like you're saying, to garner if there's other interest. And I guess on top of that is part of it just the scheduling? Have you gotten feedback? Is the notice of when you're asking folks to be available, is it too soon? Are they not able to react quickly enough and adjust their schedule to participate?
Earlier on, the notice was shorter than it's been more recently. More recently, we've been giving more notice and
Okay.
the number has dwindled.
Oh,
It often has to do with people's availability.
Sure.
My greater
Busy
concern,
time of year.
my greater concern in sharing is having a balance of voices. And I understand the desire for community input, and one might ask the question, okay, if the proposal is changed, if the board sees fit to increase the number of community members, should there be a concurrent increase in one or more other areas, depending on the selection committee that is running. And I pose that as a question without a solution.
Thank you. So we have all the comments, and this is the first reading, and we'll go on from there. We're up to agenda item 2C1 at this point in time.
Motion.
Can I have a motion for agenda item for 2C1? Megan Messman is first.
Second.
Chris Nairn is second. Any discussion on this particular item? So this-
I assume that the new board was, I assume this, the new board was asked about Tuesday, July 14th. Is that where it came from? Because we were previously looking at Wednesday, July 8th, I thought.
So Wednesday, July 8th I was in discussion with Dr. Talbot, and July 8th, there was some complications, so we looked at going to July 15th, but with July 15th, that is the last day to actually, to do the reorg meeting, so we just moved it up to one day to July 14th, and that's where that's coming from. So what we need to
So
do,
we
we need
don't
to
know.
speak out to, I can reach out to the newly elected individuals and see if July 14th works for them, and then we'll go from there.
I think that would make sense. I sort
So
of assumed that that
what
had
we can
happened.
do is that we can just go ahead and vote on it. If it doesn't work, then next week we can change it, so that way we
Okay.
can move forward.
Okay, sure.
So all those in favor of agenda item 2C1?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0. Now we're up to the review of the agenda for June 17th. So everyone go to the agenda for 2/17. And I will do a couple of things together. So we have a presentation from, 1C1, the Curriculum Advisory Council. There'll be a presentation that particular night. Any questions at all in regards to that item?
I just would request that discussion be incorporated about consideration of reduction of screen time. We have talked about this in previous meetings, potential to implement Techless Tuesday. And then if we are going to formally reduce screen time at specific grade levels, then that be incorporated in whatever handbooks or policies that are appropriate over the summer leading into the school year. That's my comment on the curriculum.
So I think also it's, I think and you did mention that before, Trustee Messman, and I think there was some feedback that came back about that. So if there's any additional information that we'll go ahead, Dr. Talbot, that we provide, go ahead.
So there has been discussion regarding screen time and its reduction. I do believe we did update the board accordingly in some of our correspondence about where we were. The Curriculum Advisory Council recently reinstated, thank the Board of Education, and there has been much exploratory discussion around curricular items, and they would like to present where we are in terms of a status update. Ms. Stevens, do you have anything more you'd like to add to the CAC?
Only that the conversation about Techless Tuesday is really the technology committee that's been discussing it. But I'd be happy to add to that presentation.
Thank you. I think, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on this item?
Yes, just very briefly. I just wanted to second what Trustee Messman said. I think it's a great idea to have students, whether it's one day a week or every other week or something like that, working with writing, developing those writing skills again, maybe even using like paper tests or something like that, just to introduce it a little bit. That there is a value in that.
Thank you. We're
And
going down.
I'm sorry, Lisa, I'm just under presentations. Is the board open to hearing a little bit from Mr. Dragon on the end of year projections and that were noted earlier, and then in concert with that, the discussion of what we will do with the reserves? Because I think that this is the meeting that we would vote on moving the overfunded
unassigned fund balance. It's like it's tongue twister
Dr. Talbot,
at this meeting. Is that correct?
Dr. Talbot.
Yes, and there is some prepared materials that will be forthcoming to the board around that. And so, Mr. Dragone,
There is an item on the agenda now. It's item 3. I'm sorry. 3D2. Fund balance recommendations.
Okay.
And that will be the time when we will present to the board our best estimate
Mm-hmm.
of the fund balance that we will have available and our recommendations as to what can be done with those funds.
Is that, should it not be under board action? So I thought that we needed to move the funds before the end of June.
The resolution that we are putting forth to the board authorizes an amount not to exceed, that's the way we frame it, for each of the reserves that we could add to. Then when we finalize the actual balance available, we now have guidelines given to us as to you can put this much into this reserve, this much into that reserve. And we're writing the recommendation very carefully because there are certain restrictions on the money that we can put into various reserves.
Right.
For example, we can't put in more than 2% of the teachers' salaries into the TRS fund.
Okay. Yep, I remember. We had some slides earlier. So, but again, is the board open to just having it at the beginning of the meeting so that the community sees too, the recommendations, even if it's just
So
one or two slides?
what I would like to do is, I would like to see, is anything gonna be sent home like next week or something like that?
I was hoping to get that home to you in news and notes this Friday.
Okay.
So that you'll have it well in advance of the meeting on the 17th.
Right.
It will, of course, be part of the agenda for the 17th as well. And the community could comment on that item because it's on the agenda at any time during the, before the meeting, excuse me, at the beginning of the meeting.
I think I would like to see what comes home in the news and notes, and then if, on that point, if we
Sure.
need to do, if we need to adjust the agenda, then I can say to Dr. Talbot, to you guys to adjust the agenda and put something on there.
Absolutely, that would be fine. If you wanted to be a presentation and then a resolution, I'm always ready to do a show.
Okay.
Well, I would,
It doesn't have to be long.
I'm gonna agree with Trustee Messman, and it's not a small amount of money that we're discussing, so I
Yeah.
feel like we should
Right.
just formalize it and just have it up for presentation next meeting.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Let's
And
do it.
so I'll draft as best I
That's
can.
fine. Go ahead.
The,
Right, so we'll edit as a presentation.
and we'll add it as a presentation.
All right,
if
thank you.
that's- If that's what my superintendent wants me to do.
if we're properly prepared with the numbers at that time.
Yes. Yeah.
right,
Madam
thank you.
President, I just have a quick comment to tail on the end of that. The projection that the board was given publicly was $2.3 million surplus. Now, I understand things change throughout the year. That's okay. And to have now a $6.7 million surplus is interesting. It's a good thing. It's a good problem to have, but also this board fought so hard to not give 1 million and some change so that every taxpayer in Amityville would have the same tax rate as last year. And Mr. Dragone, you can correct me on this if you're wrong, and I mean, if I'm wrong, but my understanding is with the taxation between Nassau County and Suffolk County, right? Because parts of our district, East Massapequa, are in Nassau County, that since they have frozen their assessments, every raise is basically shouldered by the Suffolk County portion.
Right.
Is that
Can
your
I-
understanding?
Can I just make
This is a valid question.
I just, First Vice President Leon, I know it's a valid question, but we're in the process of doing the review of the June 17th meeting. That's what we're doing. We already stated that we want him to do a presentation for us. If you want to make these comments and bring it up under new
It
business.
would be
then-
quicker if Mr. Dragon just answered.
And it would be quicker if you would let us continue to go through the draft agenda and do the other things that we have to vote on. And then at the end, you can ask your questions about the budget. And we already said he's going to do a presentation. So can we please continue? This is not part of the agenda review. This is just you seeking some additional information, which is absolutely fantastic. But can we wait to the end of the agenda review? And then when we go back to June 3rd agenda.
The answer is
you-
yes, Madam President. We
Thank
can.
you. I
We can.
appreciate
The
it.
only reason why I brought it up here is because it was still on the topic.
No, the topic was just to
I'm
bring.
ready to move on.
You just, no, I'm going to finish it. The topic was, can we add a budget presentation? That was the topic, not what was going to be on. So now we're going to agenda item. I'm going to go from 3B1, 3B2, 3B3, A through J, and 4A down to SS, 5A down to 5P, and 6A down to 6QQQ. Does anyone have any questions on these items? I know Dr. Talbot with the TBD, will these be filled in, if not be removed?
Yes, we are still in the hiring process, and those names should be printed prior to the 17th.
Any other questions on any of these agenda items?
No.
Going down to 8A and 8B, 9A, 10A and 10B, 11A, down to 11JJ. Any questions on any of these items?
Not at this time.
No.
Twelve A down to 12M, 13A down to 13I. Any questions on any of these items? Hearing and seeing none, I will move on. Now we're down to 3C1 through 4. Any questions on any of these items? Three D 1 and 2. 3.1 is going to be forthcoming, as well as 3D 1 and 2. So down to 3E 1A through 1G. Any questions on these items? Seeing and hearing none, I'm going to go back to the June 3rd agenda. And now we already have amended the agenda to add agenda items. Now we're going to be voting on them. Can I have a motion for agenda item 2C3, please? Which is appeal to the Commission of Education.
Motion.
Chris Nairn first, Carol Seehoff is second. Any discussion on this item?
Yes, Madam President. I'm not sure if this is better addressed by the board president or our legal staff, but the question is one that was raised a little bit earlier by a member of the community, and that is, what is the discrepancy between what was newly located and what was accepted?
So that is going to be a subject of the litigation, right? So if we are charged by the board with preparing papers, that would be part of the litigation. So, and that's going to be part of the commissioner's fact-finding process. So with respect to that question, respectfully, I think it's premature at this point to address that issue. Just to say that that there was indication from the district clerk as to discrepancies, and those numbers are not final, or they're not stated, and they are subject to the appeal.
And as a follow-up question, is that petition foilable?
The petition will be public
And the petition will contain the discrepancy.
in terms of, and that would be part of my job in setting forth that to the commissioner, yes.
So John, you're saying that in the appeal, you're gonna spell out what occurred
Correct,
after the election,
correct,
2 weeks after the election?
correct, in affidavit form.
And what, will the board see the appeal before it gets sent to the Commissioner of Education?
Certainly.
And what's the timeline? Because we don't have a timeline on this resolution. I don't know what this
Well, the
entails.
timeline is there is a time limitation in terms of 30 days.
Oh,
After you must file that appeal within 30 days after the budget vote and election. So,
okay, so this is urgent.
yes,
Okay, and so okay, so you don't know when you'll turn it around to the board,
it
is
will
what you're saying?
be,
Before-
a function of the fact-finding process.
Before June 18th?
Yeah.
Thank you. I guess, I would say that, as a result of this discrepancy that was brought to the board, that the board is intending to review the election procedures, the written election procedures, so that we ensure that this doesn't happen again going forward. I'm not sure what that is going to entail, if it's going to be a new written document or what have you, but the Board of
So-
Education, go
My
ahead.
recommendation would
Right.
be to have regulations spelling out the process that is acceptable to the board.
Okay. Okay, and I guess you probably have examples from other districts.
I do.
Okay, thank you.
And that was something that I spoke to Mr. Sheenan about, to provide information to the board, to the policy committee, so therefore we could look at that and put that in place.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay.
And as a secondary question, to have a better understanding, was this a discrepancy that was district-wide, or was it particular to a particular polling site?
You have to wait
So
for the appeal.
again, I understand, we have to do our due diligence.
Okay, understood. And my final question is this. Given the circumstance that just took place, do you feel that maybe now it's a best practice to not certify that election immediately? Because now I'm second guessing that.
No, I think we just need to have go
Uh,
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
So I understand.
And I'm sorry, let me interject, but how
Yep.
common is it? And do some districts wait a day, a couple days, a week? What is your finding?
Most will certify that night. And it is a function of process. And confidence in the numbers when you're doing the certification. So, and I will endeavor to put together procedures that gives the board confidence in those numbers when they're certified.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just one more statement. I do feel that, to maintain the integrity of election, that I agree with appealing to the commissioner.
We all agree.
I'm just,
Yeah, we all do.
okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3B1A?
Motion.
Chris Naren, Leslie Kretz. This agenda item was already added.
Mhm.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. You have a motion for agenda item 3B2A.
Motion.
Chris Naren is first. Carol Seehoff is second. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 7-0. Now we are down to any old business or new business.
I have one. Just wondering if we can have an update on the process for the students, school board members for the upcoming school year.
The process for the new school board members has been conducted at the high school. And the high school is in the process of notifying and announcing who that person is. Ms. Mullings, per policy, will continue on next year. And as soon as the high school has finished their part, we will connect our new student board member with the Board of Education. Last year, our president did conduct an orientation. NISBA hosted an orientation for them. So we will make sure that they have connections and that Soraya is also a part of that process to bring them along.
Any other old business?
Madam President, would Mr. Joseph Dragon be kind enough to answer that question? If he doesn't mind?
Just rephrase your question, just asking.
I really don't want to speak longer than I have to. I do, right? All right, here we go. So, Mr. Dragon, my question to you was this. So we were discussing a 2.3 proposed surplus throughout the year. It's looking more like a $6.7 million surplus. My question to you was, because Nassau County froze their tax assessment rates, what does that mean for the Suffolk County portion? And how does a levy affect the Nassau County, versus Suffolk County? Can you elaborate, please?
Sure, and I'll try not to put you to sleep with this explanation. The levy is divided between the Nassau and Suffolk portions of our school district according to the market value of properties in the two segments. Not the assessed value, but the market value. And the way we get to that market value is by using a number called an equalization rate. It is a number that the Office of Real Property Tax Services, which is a New York State agency, determines for each segment of the district. Right now, the equalization rate for the town of Babylon is 0.45, and the equalization rate for the town of Oyster Bay, which is the Nassau County segment, is 0.12. So what we do is we determine by taking the assessed values and dividing by that equalization rate, we come up with the market value of property in those two segments. And just for the sake of simplicity, if Oyster Bay's market value is $5 billion and the town of Babylon is $10 billion, twice as much of the levy gets placed on properties in Babylon as would be placed on properties in Nassau. If the assessment doesn't change, that means that the tax rate would have to increase to make up for the fact that the assessed base has not changed. It is possible, if the market values turn out to put more of the burden on Oyster Bay or less of the burden, that people in the two segments of the town would experience two different impacts. We don't control that. The only thing we control, by we, I mean the Board of Education, is the amount of the levy. The way that levy is apportioned between the two counties is not our decision. The way the assessment of each individual property within those two counties is done is not our decision. The tax rate that needs to be established in order to collect the levy that we determine is not our decision. All of those decisions are made by the counties themselves. I don't know that the assessment being frozen in Nassau would necessarily shift more of the burden to Babylon. And the reason why I don't know that is that there may be a number of people in the town of Babylon who have claimed that their property is less valuable. And therefore the assessed base in the town of Babylon could decrease, and therefore less of the levy could be placed in Babylon. The reason why I'm saying that to you is because there's a number of balls in the air all at the same time. And until those balls fall, we won't know exactly what the tax rate is, what the individual impact on a homeowner is. The only thing we have control over is the amount of the levy. I hope that that answers your question.
Thank you.
Is there any other old business or new business?
Yes, just quickly, I'll be really quick. There's an AI event, I believe, on Monday at the high school. I just want to note that a few parents reached out. They were confused, like, was it a district-sponsored event? Just, I guess, with the look of the flyer, I did get questions about that, but I know it is. And I just wonder, like, how are students being encouraged to attend? Because it is such an important topic, obviously. So I don't know if you know the answer to that, Dr. Talbert.
Sure, and I'll have Ms. Stevens to elaborate. The students have been having in-house assemblies during the day, and this particular assembly is for parents with parent information in mind to partner with us in guiding good decisions around digital citizenship. Ms. Stevens?
So this particular presentation came highly recommended to us. That evening, the 8th, is a parent meeting. Students are welcome to attend with their parents, but a student-friendly version given by the same presenters will be the following day, the 9th, at the high school.
During the school day?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So last summer, the policy committee started to talk about edits to the code of conduct. And we haven't talked about that through the year, but at the time, it was, I don't know, August, and there was concern that we could implement the discussion ahead of the new school year. So I would hope that we are in a position to revisit some of those potential edits to the code of conduct and prior to the start of the school year, if they haven't already been in motion that maybe I'm not aware of, and that we would look to incorporate inappropriate use of obviously social media and AI apps into the student code of conduct. That's all I have, Lisa. I only have 2 today.
Anyone have any other comments on new or old business?
Just a question that just popped in my mind while Megan was talking about code of conduct. I know at the beginning of the year, we were assuming that maybe the phone pouches would help the student behavior once they like get on the bus, that they're now able to look at their phones, that maybe their behaviors improved on the bus. Just wondering if there's any data to support what we were speculating at the beginning of the year.
We're actually in the process of finalizing a survey that's going out to teachers as well as to secondary students to get some feedback on the cell phone policy as well as the effectiveness of the pouches. And we'll be sure to share those with the Board of Education and the community as needed.
Thank you.
Any other old or new business? Seeing none, at this time, we're going to go to community input on non-agenda items.
Good evening, Caroline Fanning. I wanted to speak about the hiring committee and one consideration that was a consideration a year ago that was not mentioned tonight, but it was a consideration a year ago when I was on the board. Dr. Landau, you talked about there being overrepresentation of community members, but each bargaining unit only having one person. When a community member walks into a room and they see 9 or 7 or what have you, Amityville UFSD employees, they don't realize that those employees represent different bargaining units. They just see a cohesive whole of people with their lanyards, and they may assume all those folks know each other. They might be wrong, but that was a concern, that someone on the outside who wants to get involved and play a role is going to feel like an outsider if they're just 1 or 2 in a room with so many others. The community is not a cohesive whole. We're not a bargaining unit. We don't have our lanyards. We are very, very different. So the idea was to just have more of us, more community members to create that balance. And I appreciate how difficult it must be, and a challenge, as you put it so diplomatically, hard to have so many different people in a room to make it such a sensitive decision. But I really believe firmly, if it's hard, that's what produces good results. And I think a lot of people in the community have been encouraged this past year with the results of your committee, and I applaud you for it. So I would just ask, don't take away the element that's making it good. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
And I'll try to stay calm this time. I'm talking about the hiring committee as a committee member. And yes, we did have 5 community people on the roster, but I don't remember one meeting where 5 community people were there. I could be wrong, but I don't remember one meeting when 5 community members were there. We're lucky if we had 2, maybe 3. So if you're going to knock it down to 2, you're going to have nobody there. Because I don't know if you understand these meetings. We're there from 8 o'clock in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon. There's not many people in the community that are going to volunteer an 8-hour day to sit in that room and go over papers. So I am beseeching the board to reconsider the number of community people, because what's going to happen is you're going to have none there. Something to think about. And I understand, Dr. Landau, you said there is a first level and a second level of the interview process of getting this. Okay, so this year we got all of the applicants, I believe. Am I right?
So
Continue, yes.
Well, that's not exactly what it says here. It says, let me find it now. Where is it now? I believe it's here. The superintendent or designee. Nope, that's not it. Where's the sentence I'm looking for? Oh, the superintendent and or designee will select candidates for selection committee interviews. To me, that does not say we are getting all the candidates, as it said in the previous policy. So my question is, which is the right wording?
Dr. Talbot.
Are we getting all the applicants for that initial? Because, you know, it says here second level, but nothing's designated as first level.
Dr. Landau, could you further explain to her you're more familiar with the hiring policy? There are proposed changes that perhaps she's referring
Let me
to.
get to the section, because I know exactly what you're referring to, and
Just bring your mic a little bit closer. Thank you.
I apologize. The intent of the language here, and I'll make sure that I re-review it. The intent of the language is that the entire committee sees every single candidate, their name, and what the process was by which there was a choice by superintendent or designee to say, these are really people that I think should be seen. And then there's the ability of the committee, and I want to get to, I have to get to the language because it's verbose, and I apologize. So under B, selection committee members will be given the opportunity to review all application materials and by committee consensus, interview additional candidates provided they possess the minimum qualifications and certification required for appointment.
But
So
the sentence before that, that's not what it says.
under, you're looking at A?
A.
So under A, the language there is that, okay, the superintendent or designee will have reviewed every single resume beforehand. And in reviewing it, one of the things is you got to be certified. If you're not certified for the position, you can't be appointed to the position. And so that would be one of the qualifications. The other thing is that the superintendent or designate may see people that are there that say, listen, these are people that are really qualified that we would like to see. And so the superintendent is saying, or the designee is saying to the committee, these are people that I think should be seen. There is nobody that has been excluded from being seen. It's only, please see these people. Whole committee, everybody gets to take a look. If there's not the committee doesn't say these are recommended, they're not recommended in the first round. And in addition to the people that the superintendent or designee says, we really think you should see these people, the committee itself, in the same way that we have done and that you have been a part of, will have every resume in front of them, every qualification, how many years of service, finding that needle in a haystack that might be, yeah, you know what, it might be a different experience, but there's somebody there that's got talent. Let's talk about this person, bring them in and see them. That process is still honored here, the same way that when you've served on the committees, we've had great discussion on the committees. The intent of this language is to honor the process that we have followed on the committees on which you have served.
So I just asked that A be clarified a little bit, because to me, it reads that the superintendent or designee will go through, say, 40 applicants and go, I like this one, I like, not based on anything. I can see what you're saying because that's what we did, but it doesn't clarify an A based on experience or whatever you want to put in there.
So in the line above it, it does say, shall establish objective position relative criteria, that's the rubric, if you will, to evaluate candidate application materials and interview performance. And perhaps the idea of adding a line there and share that information with the selection committee. In other words, here's the criteria that were used to select candidates that I've recommended for interview. The intent is there in the language.
Okay, I guess didn't read it that way. But I'm just gonna say, if you go down to 2 people, you're gonna have no community members at the meeting. That's how I believe. How many times did we have 5 people there? I know I'm done.
I welcome continued conversation.
Thank you. Rose, you have to give the form to the district clerk.
Good evening. Good evening. I just want you to know that I have been for many years on the committee of the hiring committee. However, what Mary Stevens has presented, I've learned more than I knew before. And then when we appointed Dr. Lang and he started doing the hiring committee, he did an excellent job, okay? We discussed many different things. Like he was saying, he always asks everybody to input. It's not like, oh, well, I don't want this one to, no, we all work together. And that's how the committee was working. And I think it was a very good job. And sometimes it's hard to have, beside the union members, because I was a union member, besides the union member and committee people from the outside, you have too many people, it's hard to just do many discussing. And then the time is going and it's time to go home and it's very hard. So it was easy to maybe to try to use 2. Yes, we had 4 parents. When I was on that committee with Dr. Lane, we had like 4 parents. But however, some of our union members from, Teachers Association, Custodian Association, some of them were not available to be there. So then it was a little easier because you still had your community members. So, you know, I think, like I said, I think you're doing a good job. I'm sure maybe two, maybe even three, because sometimes you hire two people and they can't make it. It's hard. So if you have another person there just for emergency, then it's better. So I'm just letting you know, that's how I feel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wendy Canestro. First of all, the clerk is a public officer for the Board of Education and is up for scrutiny. I just want to correct the record that you can't criticize or scrutinize. You absolutely can.
When you come to the mic, we always ask people to be respectful, and that's what we're asking. Thank you.
Understood, but they are up for
Just asking
scrutiny.
people to be respectful. Thank you.
The Board of Education here seems to forget, most of you, that you represent the community. I see two people representing the community on this board. Whoever takes the seats in July, who knows if it will be the people that were announced or if it will be new people. Whoever it is should always remember that you represent the community. That's who you represent. You don't represent the unions. The unions are very well represented. I found it disturbing of how the board president was berating other board members about policies they were objecting to in final readings. Discussions happen in public when the board is together in a public meeting. It doesn't happen by email. When I got on the board, I found out was
Excuse me, nothing has been happening by email.
Well, you
Only thing
rated them
is-
for
excuse me,
not
can you
sending
pause it for a
emails.
second? So, excuse me, I stated that the board has had these policies since the last meeting, and no one made any suggestions or anything like that. If suggestion is made in an email, then it is brought to the meeting. So I just want to clarify that. Thank you.
And it could be made at a
Start-
public meeting.
And it will be made but at least we can move forward. Thank you. Go ahead and start it up.
That was disturbing, how you speak to fellow board members. As far as the hiring committee, I would love to know who you think was a terrible hire that you need to change the hiring committee. Who did you hire that was terrible, that you need to change this? Was it Dr. Lando? Was it the director of
Keep asking your
curriculum?
questions. We have them. Thank you.
Okay, so somebody must be terrible that you feel you have to change this, or the community didn't do a good job. And by the way, you say only one representative from each group. All of those union members are employees. That's one group, community is another group. So it's not balanced. I did notice a board member asking another board member a question and the board president jumping in to stop that. I noticed board members asking superintendent questions, the board president trying to stop it. And lastly, this is for trustees Messman and Leon, since you seem to be the only people that understand budgets, and you'll be continuing on the new board. If you remember the surplus, the board missed the deadline to lower the tax levy for the first half of the year. If you remember that, I would ask you and encourage you to be on top of that now that you have almost a $7 million surplus. Please be on top of that and make sure that you don't screw the taxpayers again. I understand it wasn't your fault because it wasn't brought to you, but now you know about it. Please be on top of it. For anybody that's upset that taxpayers are upset, I would wonder why you are equally not upset. $10.5 million surplus, $7 million surplus. We are not cash cows.
Thank you.
Thank you, District Clerk. District
Thank you.
Clerk, will you be answering my
me.
emails?
Excuse me, your time is up at the mic. Thank you. At the, if you're going to be rude, then we're
I'm not going to be
then
rude.
if-
She was rude to
excuse
me.
If you're going to be rude, then we're going to cut it off here.
I was not rude.
All right, so.
I would like to, okay,
Excuse me, I'm going to, like I said, if you're going to be rude, we're going to cut you off. And that'll be
I'm
the end of
asking a
community
question.
input. And I'm just making a statement. Thank you.
I would like to know, after the ballots were read, how were they sealed? How were the ballots sealed?
Legal, do we need to answer this question? Do we have to answer the question?
So the ballots are sealed in accordance with education law.
Thank you.
They were put in a box after it was read. They weren't sealed.
Not Not going through specifics.
We're not going through.
Okay, we
specifics.
won't go
Thank
through
you.
the specifics. Where are they now? If you're doing an
We're
appeal,
not
where
going
are they
through,
now?
I think legal just stated, we're not going through the specifics right now.
They are sealed.
They're sealed. Thank you.
I would encourage the board to have the district clerk removed and not appoint them again.
Excuse me.
This
Thank
has
you for
been-
your comment.
Sorry, this is
Excuse
up
me.
to public
At
scrutiny. I'm
this
sorry,
point
legal,
in
am I
time-
allowed to ask this
at
question?
this
It's
point in
within her
time-
responsibilities.
Excuse me.
I'm
you're
allowed to
being-
address
Excuse
this.
me. At this point in
I'm
time,
permitted to say this.
no, you're
John?
being rude. We're
So-
stopping here.
So
Thank you.
personnel is appropriate for executive session.
Thank you.
The district clerk, as
It's
you
personnel.
are correct, is an officer, but the district clerk is
personnel.
also an employee.
I'm allowed to talk about her responsibilities in public and a failure. If there's a failure, I
Excuse
am
me.
permitted to do that.
So-
I
have the
actually
right-
called the
I have the right
commissioner's,
to also.
I
close
called the commissioner's office today and
Well,
asked this question.
congratulations. I have the
So
right to close
we have-
the.
we-
That's appropriate, Carol Seehoff, clapping for a constituent.
Excuse
You're
me.
completely
The only
inappropriate.
one- the
And
only
the
one
best thing that you
inappropriate-
ever did was
Excuse
not
me.
run again.
Can I have
So
a
thank you
motion
for that.
to adjourn community input at this point in time?
Mr. Sheehan, I'm addressing
I
the
have one, I
responsibilities
have
of
one
the
vote to
clerk.
close
Second.
Chris Leslie Kretz and Michael McDonald. We're
Mr. Sheehan, I have
closing.
a right to address the
We're
flaws and
closing.
responsibilities.
We're closing the community input. All those in favor of closing community input at this point in time?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Opposed?
John, you know the
Carries
answer
5-2.
to this. You know the answer to.
At this point in time, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting at 10:25?
Motion.
Chris Nairn is first. Carol Seehoff is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0.